how unfinished does my basement look? I totally left this much just so you can see the sad reality of where I'm at. It certainly is. How are you guys doing
today?
Feel
any better? My other walls are actually pink.
Hey, that's kind of cool. No, I love what you did. Where do you like? What do you even call those? Or like a little changing room, or
like a room divider?
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's becoming very much a vibe for all your videos.
Yeah, my wife, she's the one that set all this up.
Oh, kudos.
It looks like you're sitting
just like, go in the basement. I don't want to hear you for an hour.
It looks like Jim is sitting in a dojo. So it builds your credibility.
I love it. Well, it's been a while. Obviously, I'll take the blame there. I've been, I'm a dad ×2 now, so I'm always the one to flake on doing these lives, but things lined up today. I'm super happy that we're all here. A lot to talk about. Before we dive into it, I just want to do a quick thing up top. If you've been watching my channel lately, I've been doing a charger giveaway, so I'll quickly grab this thing. It's heavy. It's still brand new. I haven't boxed it back up just so I could show it off in all these videos. I'm just straight up giving this thing away. Electron has been so kind to send me 2 of these things now. So this is kind of my give back to the viewers sort of deal. It's simple. There's just a link in the description here. If you're rewatching this, if you're live now, go ahead and join. There's under 200 people who have filled this out, so there's like a really good chance you could win this. So just follow the directions there. It is almost like a $500 value. It's a level 2 charger, 48 amp capability. It's a beast. So everyone go win it.
Maybe I need to put in for that.
Yeah, I haven't entered either. I'm sorry, Larry. But it would look bad if your podcast co-host won.
I would honor it if you guys did, of course, but at the same time, it would look a little weird if I drew one of you guys' names. We'll think of a nice second place or something.
Yeah.
All right, that's what I had up top. Anything you guys want to talk about real quick before we dive into some news?
I'm good.
No, Jim, just because I know I've done on your channel, but you haven't been on this, it's all just one big YouTube puddle we're all in, but just so you're kind of, I guess we'd say, new to this show particularly. Do you just want to do a quick introduction? Just kind of say hey to everyone.
Yeah, sure. I'm Jim with OSR Garage, as it kind of says right down here. I just do automotive content and some reviews of vehicles. And right now I'm test driving a Rivian I have for the weekend. So we'll get some videos coming up on that. And I was a Ford Lightning reservation holder, no longer am. And other than that, I had an ID4 and we did a lot of videos on that. So that's what we're doing right now.
Can I ask what does OSR stand for?
Well, I've thought about it and tried to come up with something better than what it actually is. Actually, what it is my road, Old Springfield Road.
Oh, there you go. Okay, hey.
That's I can't believe I never thought to ask that. I've always just taken it. It must mean something cool.
Yeah.
I thought I was trying to think up of something cool, but I haven't come up with anything yet. And I couldn't use out of spec reviews or anything like that. So,
well, it's good that you've clarified that it's not a ripoff of that. They're 2 separate entities.
Totally
by accident, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I settled on just my name because it's hard to think of something clever that you're gonna like the entire length of doing YouTube videos, right? You're gonna do it for 5 videos and be like, oh, that was dumb.
Yeah.
Oh, it used to be Sunlight Autos, but that sounded like a dealership. So
kind of. Yeah. Well, boys, we all have one thing in common is we've been talking a lot about the Ford F-150 Lightning. I kind of have the title here today. We don't have to talk the whole time about it, but I kind of thought it'd be interesting. We've obviously gone through two rounds of price hikes in the last 3 months or so. So that's been one thing that's just been getting a lot of people to say, I'm out on the Lightning. There's been a lot of news about like the Pro and the XLT, the lower two trims, just becoming not available. That has gotten a lot of people to say no. So to bridge into that, I know Joe, you did an awesome live stream. I never got to say kudos in person, but you were just calling dealers, and you called like 70 some dealers, and I don't know why, but I just was glued to it. It was so fun to just watch you call people. That was really fun. And then Jim, you had a Paramount video of you actually making money on your reservation, which we've all kind of like, wow, way to go in a lot of ways. Like he kind of flipped this back on its head. So all this in summary, the thesis today is it still worth it? We've all been really obsessed with this vehicle that was a no-brainer when it first was released at a sticker price $10,000 cheaper than it is now. But even with this price hike, I'd argue, I guess it's still a good deal, but I think you guys might be on the opposite side of that. So I think we can have a pretty interesting conversation today. What do you guys think?
Yeah, for sure. I do want to interject real quick. I should have said this up top, but this is our first podcast since Larry submitted his order. So I think congratulations are in order. One of us has crossed the pearly gates. You're one step closer. So for all the doom and gloom that I will spout this evening, and maybe Jim too, regarding the Lightning, I think it's important we highlight a positive, that Larry's one step closer, and I couldn't be happier for you.
Yeah, thanks. Although, even though I have my order, I'm not as excited as I should be, as I would have been, before spending an extra, $9K or whatever I'm at now that I was ready to spend. But yeah, I'm still excited, and I appreciate the thought. That's nice. I kind of want Jim, if you don't mind, to kick this off and just recap of, because you're the only one here who's officially said, goodbye on this. And I really like that perspective. And you got a W out of it. You totally flipped it, and you got a win out of this big L situation, right? So I'd love to hear, if you could elaborate on that. And before you do that, just real quick, Bill, there's a link in the description if you want to register, or just go to my channel. It's on all my videos. And as we go, comment what you guys think too, about this kind of, we'll call it a debate or whatever, of if that F-150 Lightning still worth it. I'd love to hear their thoughts too. So Jim, take it away.
Okay. So whenever this first round actually started opening back up in September, I think it was, when my dealership right before that sent me an email and just said, we know how things change. If you are not going to be able to purchase the Ford Lightning or order the Ford Lightning, don't cancel your reservation. We have people that want to buy your reservation, and reply to this email, and we can have you a check by the end of the week. And at first I was just like, no, I want my Pro. I want my truck. I've been waiting for a year for this thing. I want to order it. And I knew where my position was. I should have been coming up in that either the first or second round of regular reservation holders. But at that point, we didn't know that they were opening that first line up for the people who had extended their reservations for the Pro. And then we found out they did the next one was for the XLT, and we're like, what is going on here? What happened? So once it finally got to us, and then they had the price hike, I was okay with the price hike. But then when we saw and found out that the Pro was showing not available online, or however they were wording that on there, and actually saw it, I think we saw it on your video. I think some people in Reddit had it on, was listing it, some people in the forums. And so I called the dealer and I talked to him, and he said, yeah, we can't even order them for our fleet customers. And so I was just like, which I knew about the fleet one. I think we had all seen that closed earlier. And then when you reported that the XLTs were also gone after like you had a chance for 2 days and it was gone.
I'm still kicking myself for not completing that order. That's the one I wanted. I should have not waited. Carry on. Sorry, I just had to. I'm still just.
Yeah, I know. It's a little salty. So at that point, then I was just like, this closed and everything. I am not going to wait a whole nother year to get a chance to order this truck. By that point, now we're working on Ford's already working on their new electric platform and all that. There's going to be a whole new electric truck that's going to replace basically what the F-150 is. It's going to be an actual built on a platform built for that truck. So I was like, I'm just not going to worry about it anymore. So I sent him a message, said, "Hey, is this still available? The offer's still available?" And he said, "Yeah, it is." And you know, they were offering me 1,500, and I said, "I'll take 5." And we ended up settling on 3. And he said that they probably would have paid more if my order was ready up right then. Like if I had gotten the call to go ahead and order, then they would have probably given me that 5. But since we weren't exactly sure when mine was coming in, they offered the 3, and I said, "Sure, I'll take it."
And that's not bad. I mean, you turn in $100 into $3K. I mean, yeah, you had to give up on a vehicle you really wanted, but you did a lot better than some of the people who just got their money back, right? Like, you know.
Right. And I think at that point, I was just like, you know, I just really don't want it now. You know, it was like after all of this, I was just like, I'm done. My mind had just already shut off and been like, I'm just done with it now. I don't care.
I get it.
I think for all the facts you had at the moment that you took that 3,000, it was easily the best option, you know, because so much of this process has been surrounded in uncertainty. But when you hear they're not making any more Pros this model year, I'm going to have to wait another year. They hiked the price again. I mean, I would have done the same thing you did in that situation. And I crept on Instagram and tried to get in touch with you because I'm like, I want to sell mine too. It's such a no-brainer now.
No, it was. I was just saying, but a lot of people were asking who was the dealership, and I promised them that I would not name them.
Okay.
And so I kind of was just like, you know, if several people, I told them, I said, if you watch my videos, my review videos, you can probably figure it out. So I just kind of left it at that. I was like, I can't say their name. I promised I wouldn't.
Yeah,
totally. Now what I was about to ask though, I've got 2 questions, but I'll kick off this first one because I think it goes for everyone. Let's say the price as it is now, and answer it both ways versus the original 40K. And I want both of you to answer this, if the Pro became available right now at that price, the price now, which is 12K or whatever, over 53K, we'll call it because delivery fees versus 42. Would you say yes for both or either of them? I'm just curious if you guys are, or especially Jim, if you're totally out, and Joe, I have a feeling you'd probably say yes, but go ahead and answer.
I think I'm just done with it,
man.
I mean, and it's not about the price, really. The price I feel right now is where it should be. Should have been in the beginning.
It should have. It would have saved a lot of this craziness.
All of the games, I don't call them games, but it's just like, I think my video is titled like Bait and Switch or Switch Bait or something. I don't remember what I
love that video, by the way.
But you know, I was just at that point, I was just like, this is just a mess, and it just feels like Ford was like, here, but no, I'm gonna take the keys back. You can't have it. So I'm just done with it now.
I feel to
build on Jim's point, it's a lose-lose look for Ford because either they had this in mind all along, which is very mischievous of them to bait and switch, or they were naive and oblivious enough to pretend that people wouldn't want the cheapest one. So no matter which way you spin it, it's not a good look for Ford. So I completely agree, Jim. Now, to answer Larry's question, though, I've always tried to keep this glass half full, and I keep referencing this, but I asked Larry a couple podcast episodes ago, you know, if they raise the price but make it available sooner, you know, would you take it, or are you content to wait a year for the current price? This is a glass completely empty situation. They raise the price. They continuously raise the price, and keep pushing it back. Off. Yeah, there's no positives to be drawn here. But to answer your question, Larry, if I could have one tomorrow for 53,000, of course I would take it.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's what I was expecting too. It's just, man, it's a mumbling, but they said 25% have been the Pro. So I keep going back in my head, is that actually okay? That seems about right.
Percent of reservations were the Pro,
no,
or what they're producing
so far, and maybe it was 20%. I apologize. I think it's actually 20%. And then the most that they've done is obviously the Lariat, and then they say our most popular is the Lariat, but it's only the most popular because it's the most that they've made. The most popular would be the more that they make, so they control that sentence, which really bugs me. When I'd really be curious of where it would land if it was a total free-for-all. Obviously, that's a production nightmare to just, not set these limits. So I get that. But still, they're setting that narrative of what is actually the best seller. And it kind of throws me for a loop of like, what is the right thing? Do you guys have thoughts on that?
I feel that of the 200,000 reservations that they had, I think 50 to 60% of those were planning to get the Pro.
That'd be my guess too, but I've scoured online to try to find a actual number there. Do you guys actually, I don't know. And that's kind of what bugs me about this.
Well, because they didn't ask, unfortunately. Again, I keep circling back to the phrase, they played dumb. They could have gathered this data when we submitted our reservation.
Right.
And they chose not to get that information because they knew all along which trucks they wanted to sell.
Right.
Yeah. And I think about 2022, they made 500 Pros, right? And I mean, I don't know how many they made for 2023, to be fair.
I do.
So what was the allotment for 2023? Was it 500 again?
Well, so I can tell you last quarter's numbers was about 5K. So 20% of 5K. So they've done a little more. Yeah. Assuming, and that's not official. That's far from official. I need to stamp that. That's just if we take, it's like a math puzzle. They said a while ago they're doing 20%. They just announced this quarter they did. Here's the math. They did just in September, they did just under 2K Lightnings in total. So you've got to times that by 3 to get an estimate for the quarter, which is just under 6K. And then you do 20% of that and you can kind of guess where they're at. A strongly educated guess, but that's where we would be. Yeah.
Do I need to get my calculator out for this, Larry?
20% of 600 or of 6K.
But I don't know about you, Jim, but that's the part that makes my blood boil, is that they made a comically small number of these, the Pro specifically. Like they made just enough so that they could say they made some and gave them to customers. But I mean, it's such a small percent. I think I did the math. The 500 they made out of 200,000 reservations, let's say they made 1,000 Pros this year. That's still like less than 1% of the trucks they're going to build for these people are Pros. It's embarrassing for them, I think.
Yeah, and the worst part is let's say they finally get the production things totally, good to go. Markups are gone. Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about. Markups seem to be settling down, which is also interesting. I think some people are flaking on the Lightning altogether, and the demand's kind of dwindling. I mean, we'll get into that later. I'm all over the place. Sorry, guys. And I totally lost what I was saying. So let's move on. Where were you at? What was the last thing you said, Joseph? Sorry about that.
Oh boy. Well, the number of Pros they made, I think, is kind of a slap in the face to any reservation holder. And I have more slaps in the face that we'll talk about later in this episode. But I'm disappointed with the number they've produced thus far of Pros specifically.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
Oh, I was going to say, and I think we've discussed this some other time, or we've all kind of hit on it before, was I think Ford got duped by Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
I think they tried to come in underneath Tesla, which was like, it was what, $39,980. I mean, what kind of number is that? They just tried to get underneath. And then when they realized that Tesla was nowhere near anything, and all these people, they promised this price, they're like, oh crap, we can't we're going to lose money on this truck. We can't sell, 50,000 of them or something of this pro version. We're going to lose money, and probably even the XLT. And it was like, I'm sitting there thinking the reason I wanted it, a $40,000 full size electric truck.
It's a no brainer.
That thing was $5,000 cheaper than my ID4.
Yeah, or any electric vehicle at all for $40K is worth considering, And that's why it made waves. And so on one hand, they weren't that ignorant to think that it wasn't going to be that popular. They had to compete with Tesla, and then they also had to create an excuse to not make only that vehicle. And that's kind of, I think, what happened. A little of column A, a little column B. Like, did they plan to do like something malicious? I don't think so. Obviously, they couldn't have predicted, costs going up, material costs. That's a fair one to give them. They're really leaning into that though, and then to just keep doing the price hike. All this to say, I just hope Chevy's up to bat. Right on deck is Ram Revolution, and they've seen this happen. And luckily, I mean, you'd think they can learn from these lessons. Unfortunately, Chevy already did say that they are going to come out with a 40K truck. We'll see if that happens. I think from what I've read, they're just doing a work truck that is for fleets only, and that's the only 40K they'll do. And it's just bare bones electric vehicle. Smart. That's what Ford maybe should have done, because at least they can honor that without upsetting people. So that's what Chevy will do. And then the Ram will probably just be like, no, it's going to cost $60K for the base. That's what it costs. And then no one will have an issue with that because they'll just know, right? We can hope.
Yeah, I think to build on Jim's point, Tesla duped Ford, but then the domino effect started because, like you touched on, Larry, Chevy is going to give somebody a $40,000 electric truck. I don't know how many, and I don't know who will be allowed to buy it, but they have to do at least part of that model year run. I'm holding out hope, day one reservation holder, that they sell a few of those trucks for that price.
And then just briefly about the Silverado. So for my e-bike business, I was hoping to maybe get fleet opportunities with that, because I'd only be buying like 2 trucks at the max, so it wouldn't count. But I got to talk to someone, and they were like, yeah, come on in. You could sign an NDA and sit in on our EV meetings, and you can give input. We're looking for all of that. And I was like, so tempted to do it. I just don't trust myself. I would accidentally leak something, ruin my whole channel, and I still could do it if I wanted to, but I don't think I could trust myself having that information and not just like accidentally slipping out. And basically what they told me was that, and obviously I didn't sign anything, so everything they did tell me is fine, but they did say the 40K would be the work truck model they mentioned, and that actually is coming first, which is crazy. I don't know if that's been announced or if that was just news to me, but I thought the 100K version of the Silverado was going to be first. Mm-hmm. But they're going to really lean into fleets. They're trying to sell like the Blazer to fleets too. They were really trying to get me to consider a Blazer and a Bolt for the e-bike company. I'm like, can't fit bikes in a Bolt. Sorry, but I don't know. Pretty interesting. I'm excited about Chevy to finally step up here.
Did they put an order number on that? Because like Ford was like you had to buy 5 Lightnings to get fleet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was 5.
Okay.
Yep. But the thing is, you don't have to do it all at once. You can buy 2 now. I think it's within 18 months, maybe. So, but I mean, I can't buy 5 trucks in 18 months. It'd be cool though. And then so you need to do that to become fleet status, and then I think you're eligible too. So you probably more than 5 before you can get this work truck model, maybe, or 5 at once.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I reserved a Blazer on a whim just because I thought it looked, or it might even, I might be confusing that and they announced the Equinox, and that looks great as well.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
But yeah, I think there's some asterisks and some red tape surrounding the Silverado in regards to what trims are going to be available to who when. Because I also, originally we all heard that the RST was going to go on sale first. But then they said the work truck, they're going to start making that first, but that might just be for fleet. So let's be honest, none of us know. They're going to change their mind 5 times between now and then anyways. So
it's going to be a while.
Ford has taught me not to grow attached to anything, and so I'm not going to get my hopes up that Chevy will do any better.
Yeah.
All of this is why we don't do evergreen content.
It just won't work. Yeah.
Every day.
Do you guys get that on a video where someone will comment on something you did 6 months ago and it's like, none of this is accurate. This guy knows nothing. He sucks. And it's like, you're right. Me at the time definitely didn't know anything because it's changed 6 times. And I don't want to go delete those videos because it's kind of cool to look at the archive of everything. But I do feel, a little silly at those moments. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, very little of our...
People ask me questions about about our Bronco Sport that we had. And that was back in December. I haven't had it since December. People are asking questions. I'm like, I don't know. I can't go look at it. I don't have it.
Yeah.
That's great.
I feel
Watch the rest of the videos. You'll see I don't have it anymore.
That's true. I feel like very little of the content we make ages well because the next day we learn something new and they just think that we had the wrong info. It's tough. We're in a tough business, guys.
Mm-hmm. But that's the fun of it too, and why they do. That's why I'm here though. I live off that stuff. I set my Google alerts to Ford Lightning every night at 10. They come in 10 p.m. and I'm like, oh, what's in the juice today, boys? And then I just kind of go through and I'm like, nothing worth a video. And then next night hits, I'm like, boom, gold. And then I film it the next morning. It's a fun thing, I love it. Are we so off topic now?
Well, I have a topic I wouldn't mind hitting on. I had no idea that Jim was driving a Rivian right now. I'd love to hear all about that.
Sure. Can I kind of tweak that actually? I'd like to talk about that exact question, but I'd like to frame it in the world of comparing it to the Lightning just a little, and then we can get into the full version. And I'm going to throw up a graphic here that I made. I pulled the numbers. If I can figure out how this silly app works, captions. So it looks like Ford, 5,714 Lightnings produced, estimated for the last quarter. That's not exactly. That's why I have a little less than thing. It could be less. But Rivian, 7,363. And Ford has ICE vehicles they're building. We can't totally say, they suck at production right now. But Rivian kicked their butt a little bit when it comes to trucks produced last quarter. And that's not insignificant. I think Rivian, everyone doubted them pretty hard when they cut their yearly estimate in half to 25K a year. And I had my doubts. A lot of investors had their doubts. Ford almost I forget the exact details, but Ford was a big investor in them and I think parted ways nearly after that. I don't know the exact details, but all this to say is Rivian really stepped up this quarter and they're a contender and they made more trucks, frankly, than Ford did of electric trucks. So that's pretty interesting. And I want to lead into your experience with the Rivian with this in mind.
Oh, yeah. Part of the reason I think that Rivian put out so many trucks this last quarter was because they were the first part of the year, they were having such a struggle getting a certain interior. It was the lighter colored interior. I can't remember the name of it, but everybody wanted that interior and they couldn't get parts in. There was one part, and it's the dash piece, I believe. It was the dash piece that was a wood trim looking.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. And it was that was the problem they were getting. They couldn't get that piece in that lighter color. So then they just decided to scrap that piece. And I think now they're all just putting in that dark piece there in that main spot, then lighter. Then they were able to start pumping the trucks out because they were they were able to put those interiors together. That really helped them. Now,
interesting.
As for the comparison of the two trucks.
Hey, so sorry. I just said a quick caveat because it seems like you know a little bit more about production than I do here. Their goal for next quarter, they have to do 10K. If it was this dash thing that allowed them to do 7K, do you think there's any magic in their factory that they can light to get to 10K to hit that goal this next quarter?
I really think that they are going to make that push to hit that 25,000.
I hope so. I hope so.
I think they probably started to ramp up in the middle of the last quarter, and I think that is really pushing the numbers up. So I would not be surprised if they were able to hit that number. If they don't, it's going to be close.
Great. Okay, now you can go. So sorry for cutting you off there.
So I had a short period of time had driven both of the trucks in one day. I only had them for about an hour each. So it was a real quick comparison. And at the time, my head was on the Lightning. That's really what I wanted. And so I was comparing what I liked and didn't like between the two at the time. And there was two things that I noticed then, and was the regen braking. When you on the Ford, when you let off of the pedal, it immediately throws you forward. I mean, it is immediate. And when you come to a stop, and other people have commented on this, when it comes to a stop, it kind of rolls back just a little bit, which was seemed really weird and awkward. The one thing I noticed about the Rivian, especially driving it now, the regen, when you're going at full speed and you tap the brake to kick off the cruise control, or you let off of the pedal for one pedal driving, it gives a slight coast and then slowly blends in that regen, and then it goes into real tight regen. It blends in so well, and it's so smooth. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable. Power wise, oh my gosh, the Rivian is ridiculous.
It rips, right? Oh man.
It was nuts. I'm gonna have some videos of, going flat out.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch.
And I lost it. I actually was like freaking out because it was I was so disoriented. It was just crazy. I don't know if it's blood rush, forces, what it was, but it was just, I got so disoriented that I just stopped and I was just like, oh my gosh, I got to catch myself here. But the power is just amazing, and the comfort of the truck, the size of the inside of the truck, feels a lot bigger in there than what
does
it looks, because it is about the size of the Ford Ranger, somewhere in that range.
Right.
Now the steering is tight, where Ford's Lightning it's like a little bit loose, like a truck. So you kind of have that more wobble and truck feel to it.
And it does. Going from my truck to that truck, it was very similar. I'd say it's a little bit tighter than, but I also have a large bed F-150, so maybe there's some difference there. But yeah, great analysis there.
Yeah, and so we used it a lot this weekend. We just kind of wanted to use it as like a family vehicle. Go do the things that you do in a family, and what kind of range and efficiency that you get just doing a daily driving, not the highway 70-mile-an-hour interstate range tests that everybody does.
Right.
What is it like having it every day? So we did that. I even went to Walmart and pulled in. We ordered our groceries. I pulled in backwards into the spot, and when the guy came out to give me the groceries, he asked me where I wanted them. I said under the hood. He looked at me and goes, under the hood? Yeah, under the hood. And then I popped the hood open, and after I made a little short and put it up.
Yeah. Welcome to 2023, baby.
Yeah.
You put groceries in the hood, baby. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's actually a great truck. I really enjoy driving it, and I like it. The price point is like out of my range.
Yeah, man.
It really is nice, and it is worth every penny.
I have a quick question.
Things it can do.
When it comes down and they finally start making, they said they're going to do the dual motor version for the, I think, original price that they started at with the quad motors. Do you think you'd lose anything with the model like that? Or do you think that's going to be the move? Like, yes, it obviously not have that quickness that you said blew your mind, but to me, that seems like something I really might end up long-term with. Like, I think the Rivian is the perfect size for me. Price and availability has been the only thing to keep me away from it, and that's kind of where I landed on the Lightning. But man, if they come out with that dual motor at something, around $60K,
Yeah.
I mean, if Ford doesn't beat them with a Ranger or something like that, that could be a winner, man.
Oh yeah, it definitely could, and you're still going to have good power with those two.
Oh,
Those
I
two
bet,
motors.
yeah.
I will bet it would be probably 500 to 600 horsepower out of those two motors. Those four that are on it now are like 835, and the torque is like 908.
Nobody needs
Just
that.
crazy. So I would expect you'd still have probably 500 to 600 horsepower and probably 600 to 700 torque coming out of that thing.
Damn.
I don't see any real downfall to what it can or can't do. I mean, the whole point of the four wheels, like their thing was the tank turn, and there's no tank turn. Nobody's has that on their truck, so that was just a gimmick.
And didn't they kind of discontinued the tank turn before it even made it to customers, right? Because it wasn't environmentally friendly or something.
I'm not sure if it was safety. I'm not sure what the issue was with it, but yeah.
Or a nut was coming loose when they did it.
Right. They're like, it's not a good idea.
Yes, and the accelerator has not come off of my truck yet.
No, okay. That's is that a third recall? I didn't know about that one.
No, that was just an episode of E for Electric.
Oh, okay.
You watched that one? But
Alex
Bluberman, I think his name is.
No, yeah. I definitely seen a couple of videos. I just don't know that exact one.
Yeah, there was a person's accelerator actually snapped off while they're in the car.
That's pretty wild.
Rolf is asking in the chat, how would you describe the leg room, since the Rivian's like a mid-size?
Oh, yeah, it is. It was actually a lot of leg room. The front was perfect. It was more room than you would expect.
Bigger than like your ID4 or Bronco Sport, something like that size. Like I'm trying to think of what else it would be compared to.
Leg room. I don't know how to really explain the Bronco Sport. It's bigger than the Bronco Sport. More room than that. But it was, the front was great. The back, I sat behind myself where my seat was usually sitting when I drive, and I had probably about 2 inches between my knees and the seat in front of me, and I'm 6 foot, and the headroom was huge. I mean, get the door actually was like this, and I'm like doing the video, and I'm kind of like having to look under it, but above me was this much room to the glass roof.
Oh, good.
So, yeah, there's plenty of room in there.
Nice. I'm going to answer this comment because it definitely is something I want to talk about. Can we still order Maverick Hybrid? Oh, wait, you're shaking your head. What? Fill me in, guys.
I thought I saw somewhere there's already like 30,000 orders for 2023 and
okay. I thought you meant like they discontinued it.
No, it's just you can buy one used marked up, but
sure.
Submitting an order now, I think they're literally booked up for all of 2023. All the trucks they're going to make.
I was looking into that.
I know. I almost wish I would have ordered one.
And it was my dealer. After they opened the ordering, they were only open ordering for about a week, and then they shut it down.
Man, I think it's such a win. I saw a cool video. Toyota is entering the market with that. Not fully electric. They're doing a possibly plug-in hybrid as well as regular hybrid smaller truck that's due out within the next, I think, year or two. I just saw a video on that, which could be really awesome. I think it's such a winner. The Maverick rules. I've driven it a couple times. I think it's just such a winner. Obviously, look at how popular it is. The second they have a plug-in or electric Maverick, ooh, baby, come on. That's just like no-brainer territory.
Well, and I think because these interiors of affordable trucks, affordable truck interior used to look like an AM, FM radio, turnkey ignition. And now you look at the Maverick, even the cheapest has, I think a 7-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting so much for the money.
And it's something that like Rivian's also doing, but Ford kind of did something interesting with and they did something cool in the interior, which you don't have to make a cheap, boring car. You can still get cheap materials that look cool or are colored, or like the cloth seats on it are like, probably cheap, but like they have like a cool recycled pattern and they get it for dirt cheap, but it looks different. And you're like, yes, keep doing this. They add a piece of orange plastic instead of black plastic, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at this like it's maybe a little bit higher quality. Like it really works that way. Like it's just a perfect vehicle, and the Tremor version of it looks great too. Like Ford's got a winner there for sure, and that's probably why I know, to answer the question, you can't order a hybrid, right?
Jim, have you gotten to drive a Maverick for your channel?
No, I actually haven't. Every time they get one in, it's actually for a customer. So they, I don't want to do that. If I would want somebody just randomly coming in and taking off and driving my truck before I got there to get it. So I don't do that. But if they get one on the lot, they're going to let me know so that I can take it out and drive it. I was going to ask Larry, how is the size inside?
It's great. It's the same exact interior size wise as an Escape and a Bronco Sport. They're all the exact same frame. So it's like totally adequate. I like a bigger interior. I wouldn't love that, but I could live with that for a $20,000 truck, brand new or whatever it is. So it's totally adequate. Absolutely.
And the silhouette is new and unique enough that it's still an eye grabber. I saw one in the parking garage at work, and it was in that cyber orange.
Oh yeah.
I would have guessed it was a Lariat, top trim for that truck.
Yeah.
And it was an XL. Like, it's affordable. It looks great.
I have said to my wife in the car, "Am, look, oh, it's a Rivian." Oh, whoops. No, it's a Maverick. Like from behind. I was like, "Oh man, that's embarrassing." But I've done that. Fantastic.
Yeah, the weight for all these trucks, though, I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence. You've got Lightning buyers that maybe are feeling adrift, so they're canceling reservations and going to the next best thing, which for some people might be the Maverick. It's really the weight is trickling down, like the impatience for these tech trucks, eco-friendly trucks, is really starting to take a toll.
It's brutal. It's brutal for trucks in general, and I think that's why everyone's jumping on the train. And it's interesting what will happen. Tacoma EV, it keeps being rumored, but Toyota's so just kind of doing their own thing right now. I don't know if we'll see that anytime soon. I'm really banking. I think Ford's still our best bet. I think we all want the same thing, right? We want something that is probably, family-ish friendly, right? Something with enough room to like get nothing too nice. They can get a little dirty, right? Something mid-grade. And then something with some cargo room. And I could be mistaken, but that's what I'm looking for. And that's why I think a mid-sized truck is totally fine with me. I move bikes around all the time, so I need a truck, but I don't need a big ass truck, So I could live with the Maverick, honestly. I just am obsessed with electric vehicles, so it's got to be electric. I need that to happen soon so I don't go crazy.
Yeah. Larry, I put up a picture of the Rivian that I'm driving. I meant to do that earlier and I forgot. So
where is it? Do we want to?
Probably.
There it is. Ooh, is that the limestone or silver?
Yeah, that color.
It's the limestone, and it looks really blue.
That's my favorite, man.
Oh, really? The wheels, the black wheels, are awesome. They just set that off, though.
Let me turn the chat off real quick, make it a little bigger.
Oh my gosh.
That's so is this just like a rental or something, or?
I know my dealership has it for sale.
Oh man. Do you have a rough estimate of what they're asking for, or what you're willing to say?
105.
105. Man, that's still like what, $40,000 markup probably from when that one was bought.
This one is the Adventure, so it is the top one. They had the Launch Edition. This basically replaced the Launch Edition.
Okay.
As the top one, so it's fully loaded with everything. So it was probably 85. I would assume somewhere in that range, 85 to 90.
Yeah, man, it's just I would. It's so hard to say. Like I kind of just am broken right now thinking about it. It's like, would I pay even 85 for it? And I'm like, I'm about to do something close on my Lightning, so like I guess I would, right? Like what if how brain broken am I that's where I'm at? I don't know. Maybe I need to just take a step back or something.
Well, if you're
I
feeling
just had to
impatient,
epiphany, guys. Like I think I'm going through something.
If you're feeling impatient, I got a call from one of the 70 dealers that I reached out to on that live stream.
Oh yeah, do you mind just taking us that from the top? That's such an interesting story to me.
Yeah, well, that sounds cool.
So I planned on doing multiple live streams, and I did one day by myself. I didn't stream, and I just said I'm going to call every Ford dealer in Ohio, because maybe all the big cities, those Lightnings are spoken for, but maybe there's some small dealership that just got their demo unit in this week, and they don't really know what they've got, and maybe I'll be the first person to ask them about it. I didn't have any luck in Ohio, but I was like, this is sorry, we're going to go on a tangent.
No, that's what it's about, baby. Do it.
When I wanted a PS5, those were hard to get your hands on. You need people to help you. And there was a guy who would do live streams when drops would happen. And so you'd see that he went live, and like you'd tune in and try to get a PS5. So the same thing applies here. I thought, if somebody's bored at work and they just canceled their reservation and they're feeling bummed about their Lightning, they could tune in and maybe they'll hear me talking to a dealer about a Lightning, that fits the spec they wanted, or it's in their price range or whatever. So the live stream, I called most of the Ford dealers in North Carolina, I believe. And the things that I learned are just insane. So one of them called me back and said they have 2 Lariats that they bought at auction. And I think that's happening a lot more than I anticipated. You've got dealerships already buying these secondhand, knowing they're going to sell them at a premium. I think they were 108 and 113, respectively, for the Lariats.
Too much.
But Larry, this was the craziest thing I discovered, and I don't know if you were tuned in for this, but I'm eager to hear
raffle.
What Jim... There is a dealership raffling off not a Lightning. You don't win the Lightning. You win the opportunity to buy the Lightning for sticker price. So you pay, let's say, $100 for a raffle ticket. They pull your name out, and you have a moment of ecstasy, and then you remember that you still have to pay for the $65,000 truck for $65,000.
Why?
That was insane to me. And
guys, I love it. I think that's a great way to do it.
It's unique, but somebody who has a reservation at that dealership should be pissed about it.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm waiting in line. Why didn't you offer it to any of us? That would be my complaint.
Personally. So if they offer it to the people in line, but also anyone who calls in,
yeah.
I mean, I like it because here's the flip side of what everyone else is doing. No one's going down their reservation list. They're selling to whoever's calling and saying, hey, I got 20K over market. Hook me up. And then they're going to call, like one guy you called, just total dealer voice, just like, yeah, brother, we're going to go ahead and take bids. You go ahead, give me your bid, and we're going to sell it to the highest bid. And then it's like, also, eat shit. We don't care about you. We're just making money or whatever it is. Like, yeah. And I like the raffle compared to that. That's all I'm saying.
Those are the phone calls that make me feel silly because I'm searching for a steal, a diamond in the rough. But obviously, you got to sort through a lot of coal. And those phone calls are like, he says, well, what would you pay? The guy that asked me today, he's like, well, I'll look, you can't afford these. I'll look at auction and we'll keep an eye. I'm like, if you're buying it at auction and you're marking it up, it's more than I want to pay,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was the craziest thing I heard. And there were more dealers that were saying, we're not equipped to sell EVs. We don't plan on getting EV certified. So that's the other, the double-edged sword of finding a rural dealer that may not have a lot of interest in EVs in their surrounding area. a lot of those aren't even planning on selling the Lightning ever. So
Yeah.
that's tough.
How many did you call in total? I know you probably already said that, but I forgot.
So I think I could pull up my Excel spreadsheet, but I think I stopped right at like 100. So 100 total. I did, let's say 40 in Ohio, and then a bunch I did West Virginia, because that struck me as a state that's not super interested in EVs. I know they're not, because they don't have a single fast charger in the entire state.
Holy shit.
So yeah, but it was also, I'm gonna warn you guys, I'm not over dramatizing. It's an emotional roller coaster. It feels like you're being broken up with.
That's why it was such a fun
5
stream
minutes.
to watch, though. Is you're like, oh, they're talking to the manager. They said they have one, and then I was like, oh man, what if they?
Right.
I know it's not going to be affordable, but it might be. This is interesting. Right. And real quick, while I'm talking, did you make that list available for everyone?
So I didn't make that document public. I guess I could, and I'm sure there's similar things on like the Ford Lightning forums.
You should post it on your community tab, and everyone go follow Joe and get his cheat sheet. Well, I think anyone in your area who's looking for one, that's such a valuable resource that you have. Yeah. If you're willing to, share that with someone. I know there's probably some juicy ones on there, but I mean, I would assume anyone watching this in your area would be like, oh my God, someone did the work for me.
I agree. My only counter thought, because I thought about that, but it circles back to what we were all talking about earlier, is that how long our content is viable for. Like, I did that stream over a week ago, so even if there was a magic diamond hiding on that spreadsheet or one of the people I called, it's probably gone by now. But,
yeah, that's very fair.
But it was a good learning experience, and I think I will continue to do those. Because some dealers were even saying, we're going to get our demo unit in the future. So it's like those Lightnings aren't spoken for yet. It's really all just about timing, I think, and getting lucky.
And it could be even more fun in the future when a lot of those aren't marked up, because you'll actually be finding some that are actual options. Like, you probably had like a 1% hit rate of the 100 you called. Whereas if you do that in the future, it's going to be really interesting, because you might find a couple juicy ones, which will be really fun to see. So I'm excited for that.
I was disheartened to hear how many dealers were marking them up and how aggressively, because that really is the dagger for people like Jim and I that are trying to get a truck for a reasonable price.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like it's impossible.
Yep. And we're out here complaining. I'm reading a comment from Landon here. And he's not alone. There's so many of these people. Day one reservation holders yet to even get a chance to order at any tier level, let alone like those are
ridiculous.
And I feel guilty about that. Like, I'm far from day one. I think I was, I don't know, it was so long ago, but I wasn't day one. I was like maybe a month in even. And I made the cut, but it's just it's a shot in the dark. It's what dealer you're at. It's mostly what dealer you're at, and what state you live in, and it's not fair.
Right.
Well, if I agree.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's not fair. And what is the point in jumping in there and trying to be the first reservation, or try to get there right away, get it there at the top? What is the point if it doesn't matter anyway?
Yep. And the price is far from, especially that's the dagger in it, is because even if you still had your reservation and you had to wait a little longer, it's like, it sucks, but whatever. But now you're waiting longer, and it just is going up and up and up and up. And I guarantee we're going to see price hikes at the other trim. I can't guarantee that, actually. If they just change the Pro now, who knows? Obviously, it's been a roller coaster, but there's no way they're gonna change the other ones. I don't think, again, but who knows?
Well, as the only person who's still in the race here, in limbo, I'll say. Larry's placed his order. Jim sold his reservation. Congrats to both of you. I have to say, the price hikes don't make me feel good, but I think what I'm more insulted by is that nobody knows what's going on right now. Can anyone in the chat please tell me, is there a wave 4? When does it start? Who's invited? This is absurd that you've got people, again, day one, I'm not day one, who are in the dark. You're holding on to my money. Tell me what the plan is. Sorry, I'm ranting, but I've had these thoughts in my head for a week. Wave 3 ended on September 30th. What's the plan? Give me at least, even if I don't get to order for a month or whatever, just tell me. It's better to know. That way I can make an informed decision like Jim did.
Totally. And that was the video I did in my truck because I needed to just talk about it right away. Do you guys think there's a chance that they change the price in the middle of this because they are going to start 4 again soon and maybe open it up? That's the only thing I can wrap my head around of why they would do this random price change. So I do think there's hope still. I'd hold on another month, guys. Ford's not paying me to say this. I wish they were. But I really do think there's still a chance out there.
Yeah. I would be surprised to see them not open it up at some point. I don't know if it's going to be within the next month or not, but if there's no reason to raise the price now, if you're not going to increase it, because the people who've already ordered are getting it at that other price. So increasing the price gets you nothing if you're not going to open them back up.
And what it does too is, it kind of solves the problem of the what if people, of the people like me who didn't get to order a Pro. So if they opened it up again, they'd have a mess on their hands because half the people who wanted to order the Pro but ended up getting a XLT or this, all of a sudden they're like, whoa, you're just opening this up a month later and I could have got the Pro if I waited. So I think maybe there's some strategy there too to do that as a buffer of we're adding an extra $5,000 on this, but we're opening it up again soon. So maybe you guys can change still. They'll still let them to change, but you're subject to a higher cost or whatever. I think there could be something there, but again, that's total Larry logic is what I like to call. Who knows if it's right.
I think what you just touched on, Larry, is the main reason that I don't think they're going to reopen for Pros anytime soon, because not that screwing people has ever been a reason that Ford didn't do something, but they will have screwed a lot of people if they just reopen orders for the Pro after telling a whole wave of people that they weren't available.
Yeah.
So I mean, imagine if I was in your shoes and I bought a Lariat that I really can't afford, and then I find out the next guy got to order a Pro. That's not fair.
Totally.
But I don't know that Ford has a finger on that pulse, so they might.
Yeah. I say mid next year they'll open it up, or it'll be January, February, something like that.
You don't think they're going to let anyone order a Pro until middle of next year?
Yeah, I think they raised the price, but I think they're going to hold it off. I think they're going to hold it off until January, February, and do waves again.
Who knows, man?
It's hard because
that's the stuff that we get. Oh, go ahead, Joseph. Sorry.
No, it's hard because for every day that we get strung along, we become more invested to see it through. And that's why they raised the price. I've waited till January. It's but I'd hate myself for quitting now. And
it's sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, maybe they did this research and they've had this in mind all along to know that people would feel conflicted enough.
I really hope not. That's so, what's the word? Sadistic. It's insane if that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're about at the hour point. We don't have to quite wrap up, but if you guys have any parting thoughts or one last thing you want to get to, I'd love to turn it over to you guys if you have anything else you want to touch on.
I can't think of anything right offhand.
Anything positive out there? What's some good news? We've been a little bit down in the dumps here. I'd like to maybe find one kind of light at the end of the tunnel. Anything you guys see? It doesn't even have to be car related, but just something. What do you guys got?
Well, Lordstown produced a couple trucks.
Okay.
What if I just close my laptop?
And they're doing fleet only though, right?
I'm not sure, but I know they did produce a couple.
Oh, you know what? That's a great idea. MG, I don't know your name. They said read some comments to end it up. And I'm a bad at that. I'm just honestly I'll just throw my cards. I'm just always trying to not have dead air here. So whenever there's not something, I'll just say something, which maybe I could get better at. And maybe talking about the comments is a good idea. Do you guys want to pick a couple comments, then we can call tonight?
There was a question that I saw earlier. Somebody had asked about it was something about the comparison of the Lightning and the Rivian, and I gotta find it because I don't remember exactly what they were asking.
While he's finding that, my bit of good news is that Jeep announced some all-electric vehicles, and I'm excited, and I won't be able to afford any of them, but but I look forward to it anyways.
No, I love that Recon they came out with. I think it's going to be such a hit. It's basically like a not obnoxious version of the Hummer, because it's got like that cool. You can go. It's classy, but it's also got like the off-roadiness to it. I could get down with that. I mean, it's probably a far ways out, and like you said, it's going to be up there. But man, it looked good. It looked good.
Oh yeah.
I'm struggling to find something that we didn't already touch on, to be honest.
Dealer offered me.
Yeah, I cannot find that comment, that question now. Let me see.
Oh, MG, the heated mirrors thing. What trim? Because I just read that post. Maybe it was you who posted it on the forum earlier today, and they said.
The last thing I heard about heated seats was that they were going to be standard in all the trims because it was
seats are still there all across the board. They wouldn't get rid of that.
Good.
Heated mirrors, and if I lose heated mirrors, I'm okay with that. I don't care.
Me too.
But heated steering wheel too, I saw in the post. If I lose heating steering wheel, I'm out. No, I could live without that.
That's a true Lariat owner right there.
Isn't it though?
I think you found the right trim.
So I have this title for the day I get my Lariat, and it's going to be why my ICE Lariat's better than my new electric Lariat, because it is a kind of like is blasphemous. I just wish I could just swap engines or swap to electric on my. I love my truck right now. I got the big ass panoramic roof. I got heated seats. I got cooled seats. And I'm gonna lose a lot of that on my going to a lateral move just to go electric and to have a vehicle 3 times the cost of mine is insane. I'm a psycho for doing that, but I will.
The infotainment though in your current truck,
it's fantastic.
Is it the 15-inch portrait though?
No, but I honestly, all right. So when I first started making these videos, I was all about that, right? Like I wanted phone is key. Hey, that's not even here yet. There's no phone is key yet. Tim Bartz, what up, man? He said it's heated steering wheel and heated mirror delete on the ICE F150. Tim, thanks for helping us guys who don't know what we're doing, coming through in the clutch. Appreciate it, man.
But can we ask Tim? Tim, what's going on with Wave 4? I know you got the inside track. Can you give us a hot take? What are we in a holding pattern? What if we just sat here in silence as he typed?
I think we're going to, and that's what we'll go out on.
I tuned into his live stream a couple days ago, and I typed that, and I don't know if he responded or not. I might have missed it.
I do have something else for F1, the Lightnings, if you guys want to talk some more about it.
Oh, okay. Absolutely.
So, Larry, I just shared something on your screen, and I don't know if you guys have seen this or not.
Oh, the Hoovies Garage on InfoWars.
Yeah. Did you guys see that? The InfoWars or whatever that guy. That was completely ridiculous.
So unfortunately, I know all about it. Like I obviously don't want to talk politics or anything, but most of the media I consume is making fun of that guy, and so it's hard not to like. He's a fun character to make fun of, regardless of where you're at. So, I did find that crazy, and I really loved the follow up he made, so he could like go through piece by piece and be like, "Well, this is not what I said," and it just shows you like how. And I hate, it's just media in general now, how people love to take a headline and not read it and then just go to town. I mean, I do that on my clickbait. I'm guilty. I'll take a headline and I'll make that, but I'll explain it in the video. And I think that's what you need to do. But yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah.
Well, and kudos to Hoovie for unspinning that story, and some responsible journalism on his part to get out and clarify the intent of his original video. Good for him.
Yeah. He did a good job. And I just thought it was crazy how the guy was like, oh, it will only tow 25 miles per hour, and then he sees in the video as he's talking, it says 73 at one point, and then it says 40 something. He's like, oh, he must have found a downhill grade.
He must have been going downhill.
It's like, are you kidding me? But there was a few things in Hoovie's towing video that he technically didn't do right, but not because it was because he probably didn't know or didn't realize. So they were talking about the trailer was at a slight angle or pitch, so so it wasn't flat and level, so that was pulling a little more drag. The other thing is it didn't seem like, and I don't know for sure, that he didn't turn on the tow and haul mode, which then would have asked him to set his trailer and the weight, and that would have changed.
Oh yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
And so then it would have been like, we would have probably read like 110, 120 instead of 200, and it wouldn't have looked like he lost that much.
Yeah.
So
I think it's an interesting experiment, though. But to your point, Jim, because a lot of Lightning owners are going to be first-time truck owners, and so that mistake is going to get made by a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
great point.
So I don't think he really did technically anything wrong. I don't think it was like he did it on purpose. I just think he just didn't know or didn't realize, because he doesn't have electric cars on his show. He's all, gas and older vehicles and stuff like that. So it's probably just something he didn't know.
You're right on.
I don't fault him at all. But I think he did a great job breaking this down and saying, this is not what I said. He even talked about how Ford contacted him about his video. And then he followed all this up. He did a drive in the truck, and he's like, I don't like this. I don't like this, but this is awesome. This is great. This works perfectly. So he did a good job of an overview of the truck, really.
For sure. And it really just shows we'll get to Tim Bart's. He got it back to us. I missed both of his comments. But to sum it up, I guess, or we don't have to end talking about it, but I think some people are so threatened by like the electric future when they really shouldn't be, but they really are, and they're showing all their cards, unfortunately, and they're just looking for any reason to cling to of why these electric trucks aren't good. Like it's not like people are going to be taking away their vehicles. Like even in 2030, they're just going to stop selling them. The states that have declared that, it's not like you can't have it. You can buy a brand new 2029 Ford F350, brother, and do whatever you want with it for the rest of your life, and it'll last forever. You're fine. And you don't have to cling to these things. We've admitted that's not what these are good at.
They're bad. They're bad.
But battery technology is going to get better, and they will be acceptable. And for those of you that are hauling more, then it's obviously not something you should buy. And I just can't get why people don't understand that. Really, and it's not worth arguing, because real quick, do you guys remember the video of like the guy who was stranded at 60 miles or whatever? And I made that video about that. That guy got in touch with me, and he messages me once a day, basically, just being like, sending me articles of Lightnings or electric trucks that can't tow. And I've never answered him once. He's just obsessed with it. And because when we first talked, I did try to level with him. I said, yeah, you're right, it can't tow, but look at all these other great things. And he's like, yeah, right, it's going to tear down the grid, or all those other EV myths that aren't true. And it's just, there's no arguing with these people, and it's not worth it, is what I've learned finally after 2 years of this. Sorry for rambling.
No, you're fine. I do got a question for you, Larry.
Yeah, so let's read Tim's comment just real quick. So he does not know if there will be a Wave 4 in answer to Joseph's question. And I will add that the raised price on the Pro for fleet customers that are able to buy them. Oh, don't think we'll see it opening up. Okay, that's great insight. I appreciate that, Tim. That makes a lot of sense because we did not know what was going on there.
I take back what I said. I'd rather not know. I'd rather be in limbo.
Okay, sorry, Jim. Back to where you were.
No. I was just gonna say, I was gonna ask you why you didn't offer me your Model Y for $53,000.
Did I say 53?
Oh boy. Whatever.
I don't know. It was your video where the guy was trying to buy your.
Oh, the guy who threatened to run me over.
Yeah.
I think I said the numbers wrong in that, but yeah, man, that was a wild ride. And if I would have known you wanted it, man, I would have way rather dealt with you. Do you know what? That was my first video to get demonetized.
Oh, because of the profanity?
Because I didn't blur out all the naughty things that I was the one to say, and probably the death threat in there, which it was really fun to recap that a little bit later just to see how silly that guy was.
Well, and who knows, maybe he saw the video and had an epiphany regarding his customer service.
Definitely.
And will improve in the future.
Yeah, maybe. Definitely. That's the guy who screams willing to change. Man. Well, anything else, fellas?
I don't think so.
I gotta say, this is a blast. Every time I do these, I'm like, man, we should just be doing these every night. And then I realize, oh wait, that's impossible. I can barely do them every week. But I had such a good time. So, Jim, thank you so much for coming on. Joseph, it's a pleasure as always. And the viewers, you guys, I really appreciate. We had a decent turnout. It seemed like tonight. I loved it.
The like button.
Yeah, push all the buttons. You guys know the drill. All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.
See you guys.